broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Dear viewers and listeners, today's welcome to our show. This is a special show, Somoye Alap. We run this one simultaneously from Millennium US TV and also Millennium TV. It's a constructive program that we do host each and every week on Saturday 12. For some reason, we had a technical problem. That's why it's being delayed today. I'm so sorry about that. The topic is today is look back to Bangladesh, and we have a very wonderful guest today who is Joseph Joe Edward Baruch. By name, a lot of you will be questioning or having good enthusiastic that like what type of name Baruch is. Baruch is blessed, means blessed. So we will be going into that. Before we get into the main episode, I'm requesting all of you to visit millenniumustv.org and www.millenniumusatv.com. And I request everyone to comment on our Facebook and subscribe the YouTube, and also visit our program into different smart devices. That devices includes Android, Apple, and Roku TV, and also Radiant IPTV, and other including Horizon Satellite. Today I have, as I said, I have very special person that on the screen, Mr. Joseph Jude Edward Baruch. He is from Bangladesh. He is living now for a long time in Canada, having a very exclusive family background that brought him here today with me. And I thank I will address Mr. Baruch. If my guest allow me, happily, I think he is smiling, so he is accepting it. Mr. Baruch, I will give you a floor that if you can make a brief start with your families coming from Baghdad and Jerusalem, 17th century, and afterward migrated to India, and then your forefathers came to Bangladesh, and you were born in the era of East Pakistan, but in Chittagong, presently within Bangladesh. So I wanted to throw the ball to you. Please start.
Hello, everyone. My name is Joseph Jude Edward. Edward is actually an adopted name. Baruch, as a last name, is the real name. I have Jewish background, and I'm going to give you a brief history of how my family happened to come to South Asia, especially the Indian subcontinent. And I thank Mr. Amar Islam for inviting me over. So without any delay, I'm going to say a little bit of how our family came about. But I got to before I get into that, I've got to go into a little bit of background history. In the 1800s, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, that's fine.
Oh, in the 1800s, Jewish merchants originally from Aleppo, which is Syria, and Baghdad chose to, establish themselves permanently. They traveled to India and chose to establish themselves permanently in Calcutta, which was at that time the emerging capital of the British Raj, as they say. They were all Arabic speaking Jews of Iraqi origin, known as the Baghdadi Jews, a community that was essentially transplanted from Baghdad, Iraq, the home of the Babylonian Jews. They had established, when they came to Calcutta, they established a vibrant community in Calcutta and were engaged mainly in commerce. They were very business minded. Within the vast sea of humanity that made this city in the Hooghly River, they maintained the Judaic identity. They were well versed in in their religion and in Hebrew, and they also spoke Arabic. Subsequently, over the years, they learned uh, Hindi, living in Calcutta. So many of the Baghdadi Jews uh, have since immigrated to Israel. Now, my father's ancestors, coming to my family now, my father's ancestors were among the group that came from Baghdad and settled in Calcutta. By that time, my great grandfather uh, was a Jewish high priest in Jerusalem, and he would travel from the Middle East to Calcutta to officiate over religious matters and assist in the establishment of a vibrant Jewish community there. He later decided to make Calcutta his home, and my great grandfather, my great grandmother, my grandfather, and my grandmother, my aunts and my uncles, and all the extended families have since passed away in Calcutta, and they're buried in the Jewish cemetery in Narkaldanga. One of my father's older brother, Aaron Baruch, left Calcutta and settled in Beersheba, southern Israel, which is now a war zone. He passed away in October 1991 at the age of 72. His oldest son, Joseph, was a fighter pilot in the Israeli Air Force, and his other son, David Baruch, was a high ranking general in the IDF. He passed away just a few years ago of old age. My great grandfather, coming back to my great grandfather, he was the high priest in Jerusalem, in a temple in Jerusalem in the 1800s. And I have actually provided a photograph of him to Mr. Ammar Islam as a
Yeah.
proof. That picture was taken in 1856, in the year 1856. And when my father was born, my father and his siblings were all born in Calcutta. My father did his schooling, his college and university in Calcutta. He worked for a company in a jute and cotton company in Calcutta. And I'm talking about before 1947. Subsequently, the company had a branch in Chittagong. So they transferred my father to Chittagong to become the manager of the Chittagong branch. And of course, in 1947, 14th August, Pakistan and India, were
Got to
separated.
separate and independent.
There was a partition, and my father and his older brother, who was also there in Chittagong, decided to come to Chittagong, decided to stay back in East Pakistan at that time. Instead of going back to Calcutta, they said, we'll stay in East Pakistan. My father's older brother, Ezra Baruch, who was famously known in Chittagong as Eddie Edward, was a businessman in sungrass business, and he was operating out of Chandragona. He subsequently married a tribal chief's daughter, and they had a son. His wife died at childbirth, and my uncle gave the little baby up for adoption to a family in Chandragona. My father met my mother in Chittagong. They got married in Chittagong. I was born in Chittagong as well. We lived at 68 High Level Road, Dampara, which is just below the police lines. I did my schooling at St. Placid's School and did my college and university in Chittagong. And before immigrating to Canada to marry my fiance, I was for a while working in Chittagong. I worked in the construction of an oil and gas pipeline from Bakrabad to Chittagong with a company called Ital Montaji. I was the field engineer and the assistant bending engineer of that company.
Eh, Mr. Mr. Baruch, I will address you here as a Mr. Baruch because this is your family last name, very prestigious family last name. From this point, what I would like to know is, since our discussion is from your family background, migrating from one part of the world globe and to another part of the globe, what is the inside the family, the experiences or the dialogues that you usually hear regarding the business at that time, regarding the social aspects and the environments and the mixing with the Eastern people in the society? What? Just share us some knowledge from the family, from your family.
Okay. My father ultimately went into the shipping industry and he became a very well known person in the shipping industry in Chittagong. Everybody knew him, and they knew him as a Christian, as a Catholic, because my mother was, Catholic of Portuguese background. So he was very well known as a Catholic. And everybody knew except a few close family friends who knew that his Jewish background. Everybody else knew that he was a Catholic. We basically never had a problem except that we had to conceal our true identity of being Jewish or having Jewish background. Because in those days, back in East Pakistan,
So I wanted to little interrupt, from what time after the partition, when the Pakistan came into existence and India came into existence separately. So at that point, after the partition time, you feel that your last name Baruch will be in danger, and that's why you like your forefather
My father
adopted
adopted.
Edward.
Yeah, he adopted that
Right.
name.
Okay.
He,
So
he
let me
yeah,
ask you one question. The thing that like during that time, your age supposedly during 71. How much? What was your age at that time?
I was 15 years old.
So you are a kind of well understood young boy of seeing and understanding and thinking, capable person at that time, right?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Okay. Can you share any of those experiences happened during 71 in Chittagong?
Well, I was studying in school at that time, and of course, the Liberation War broke out. Um, um, the genocide began, um, and I, our family stayed. My father and mother, and my mother's sister, and everyone decided, no, we are staying in our house. We are not leaving. So we stayed. Uh, we
Mr. Baruch, stay tuned with us, and we will be going for very short break, and then you continue after that.
Okay.
Viewers and listeners, please be with us. Thank you for being with us, and stay tuned.
বলবি বলো উন্নতম মসি
সুপ্রিয় সুধী, মিলেনিয়াম টিভি ইউএসএ আয়োজিত আলোক পত্রিকা অনুষ্ঠান থেকে আমি শাহানুকা হাসান শিখা সবাইকে জানাচ্ছি শুভেচ্ছা।
শির নেহারি আমারি নত শির ওই শিখর হিমাদ্রি।
আপনারা এই অনুষ্ঠানটি দেখতে পাবেন প্রতি বৃহস্পতিবার বাংলাদেশ সময় রাত 10টায়, আমেরিকা সময় দুপুর 12টায়।
The human world is made one. All the countries are choosing.
অনুষ্ঠানটি প্রচার হবে সকল অ্যান্ড্রয়েড, আইওএস ডিভাইস এবং রোকো, আমাজন, আপেল টিভি, গ্লোবালি, হরাইজন স্যাটেলাইট এবং সকল স্মার্ট টিভি থেকে। ওয়েবসাইট www.millenniumtvusa.com।
Hi, viewers and listeners. We are coming again, and then we start our episode right here. The broadcasting is being viewing the broadcastings of Millennium TV live, and we are going back to Mr. Baruch.
So, continuing about Chittagong and the Liberation War. During the Liberation War, we stayed in our own house and we never left. My mother, my father, my mother's sister, my uncle, they all decided we're going to stay. In the process of staying, we had sheltered 2 Hindu families and one Bengali Muslim from the university. He was a student studying in the university. His name was Rul Amin Mujumdar. He was actually my private tutor at that time. So he stayed with us. My mother made sure, she told him that if you ever question, you are my youngest brother, and speak in English. Now, we all lived in the house at the height of the war. When the Pakistani soldiers came to our house, my father stepped out to speak with them. And they were not allowed to enter the house. And my father was, looked very Middle Eastern. He looked more Arab. And he was fluent in Arabic, Hebrew, Hindi, and of course, if you know Hindi, you know Urdu.
Right.
When the soldiers saw my father, they thought he was Arab. So they asked, if who the other people in the house were. My father said that they were all family and the soldiers just left and did not harass us. During that time, um, the whole locality, everyone had, you know, um, basically they left the place because of all the shooting and atrocities. I won't go too much into details, but we witnessed a lot of killings there because our house was right below the police lines, and of course, when the Pakistani soldiers captured the police lines, they came down searching for whoever they could find, and they killed a lot of people, and it's very traumatic to even describe, which I don't want to describe on air, because you know, even though it is 2023, when I think about that era of 1971, I still relive it in a way. My family, my siblings, who were old enough to understand, we still relive that atrocity because we were young then. We were children, and to see that it's not a good thing. I would say, I wouldn't want my children to witness what I witnessed, basically, and I wouldn't want any children, anyone, to witness what we witnessed.
And I think I know one thing that, like, regarding your family, your father, Mr. Baruch, also knew multiple languages down the road, and also he and you, after 71, you moved out from Bangladesh to Canada in 80, I think it's in 86, you said, right?
Yes, in '86.
So what was your feelings, and what is your feelings during 1975, since you were in Bangladesh at that time? The 15th August happened. Like, how do you define that day as a turning point in the society, turning point in the socio-political situations of the country? Can you elaborate a little bit?
Yes, there was a significant change. You know, right up to 1975, um, you know, the father of the nation, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, and his Awami League were in power. They at that point, right after liberation, the situation in Bangladesh was not good because now Bangladesh was left without anything, had to start from zero, with nothing, with no resources. Everything was plundered and destroyed. So it was a very daunting task at that time to bring the country up. There were a lot of struggles, but Bangladesh and Bangladeshis somehow strived and worked very hard to bring it up. And then, of course, in 1975, Sheikh Mujib was assassinated, and the military took power, and it was a whole different scenario. It was like the military era of Pakistan coming back again, but in a different form.
That twisted and that turned the country's, Bangladesh's social thoughts and political, turning points again, as you said, going back to different form, but going back to Pakistan militarism or something like that. So that is one thing. And then, as what is your feelings when you came out in 1986, right, from
Yes.
Bangladesh to Canada. Now, left behind in 1986. Now, if you look back to Bangladesh now, what do you see, and what is your assessment? What is your comments, or what is your evaluations?
In 1991, I had visited Bangladesh because my mother and my aunt, my mother's sister, we were selling off the property we had there, and they were all coming to Canada because we sponsored them. So I had to go there because I had to sign certain papers because my mother had given me the power of attorney. So I had to be there. So I went there. There was a bit of difference, but not a lot of difference. Very, very minimal. But then when I was deployed to Afghanistan and I worked in the United Nations. At that point, in 2007, 2008, 2009, I went and decided to visit Bangladesh because being so close, Afghanistan and Bangladesh is just a flyover India. So I visited. And the first time when I went, I was shocked. The big difference, the progress that I had seen at that time was like, whoa, it was unbelievable. It was for the better. There was a lot of progress. And like I mentioned to you when we talked before, for the first time, I walked out with the Star of David visible over my shirt, over my t-shirt, and it was visible for anyone to see it. Nobody questioned me. So that actually meant a lot.
Meant a lot. Like if we look into that, like socially awareness, people are more expanding and allowing a different diversity people and citizens in the country. I think you mean to say like that.
Yeah, well, Bangladesh took, in order to get a broader exposure, a lot of Bangladeshis sent their children, or a lot of Bangladeshis themselves traveled out to other countries. They visited other countries. They socialized in those countries. They understood the big difference between Bangladesh society and that. And so what they did is when they came back, and many of the children who studied abroad, when they came back, they brought that because they came back with an open mind. Okay,
right.
And then, it was being more communal, more friendly, and being more tolerant.
One more question that I wanted to ask you, like, do you feel like 15th August 75, that Black Day, Black event, changed the level playing field in the country or not?
It did. It did. I don't want to go deep into that, but
just whatever sense comes to your mind, very politely. Since
radicalism
you have seen at that time, and then you have seen international arena, you have seen Bangladesh, and your family background is diverse and routing from another continent to continent. You have a very different type of experience in family. So that's why I wanted to ask you.
Well, the after 1975, after that Black Day, we noticed that there was a bit of a rise in how should I put it? I have to be very careful how I say this, but of extremism, maybe, and you know what I mean by that.
Yes, yes.
We see it today.
Actually, during that era, some constitutional bypass happened, and also there was a crisscross of the constitutional values by from freedom of religion or secularism
That's
towards
right.
a rightist thing. So
Yes.
I understand that what you are trying to say.
Yeah, that's
That-
what
that-
I'm saying.
yeah. Okay. All right. And then now see now like I understand that by talking to you, I realized that you regularly, being a son of Bangladesh, motherland, you
Yeah.
always monitor, you follow the progress of the country.
Yes.
And how do you express that one?
Well, I'm very proud of my birthplace because I call Bangladesh the land of my birth because that's where I was born. I'm proud of where the country has come up to. Sheikh Hasina, the daughter of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, has done as a lady. She has done a tremendous job. She has advanced Bangladesh to a point where Bangladesh has the economy is better than India. Of course, Pakistan doesn't even come anywhere near to that. And one of the most progressive countries in Southeast Asia today, and that's a big
Achievement.
progress and achievement.
Right. Mhm.
Yeah. And how did it happen? It happened because the Bangladeshis worked very hard. Despite all the drawbacks and the negativity they got, okay, they continued to strive, and they have made Bangladesh what it is today. And I always say that I'm very
Right. Mr. Baruch, I wanted to add one thing that, do you think, this current government, of course, you said, is doing wonderful job. And do you think that, Bangladesh will attain the optimum level of its success? And
down the road,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's on the road. It's on the road, but the people from Bangladesh should be very careful about choosing the pro-Bangladeshi, pro-independent section of the people into the government, so that they can work continuously with sustainability. That's one question always comes out. But one more thing that a question comes in the era that level playing field, like if we go for level playing field of any nature in the country, like who is the stakeholder should be in an independent country, the part as a stakeholder of the level playing field, and who should not be.
Well, the current government is doing a tremendous job. There's no doubt. You can see it. They should be the ones continuing what they have started after they took power.
2009, yes.
In 2009, when they took power, they turned the whole thing around. And I honestly believe that they have the right attitude, the right vision of what they want the country to be. And of course, that they would be the ones to support.
Mr. Baruch, again, I will be coming back from a short break. Stay with us. Viewers and listeners, please be with us. Thank you again for being with us. And then stay tuned. After a short break, we will see again.
নীরব রেস্টুরেন্ট অ্যান্ড হালাল চাইনিজ, আপনাদের তৃপ্তি আমাদের আনন্দ। আমাদের রেস্টুরেন্টে পাচ্ছেন সম্পূর্ণ হালাল উপায়ে তৈরিকৃত সুস্বাদু আর মুখরোচক সব দেশীয় ও চাইনিজ খাবারের সমারোহ। স্বাদে আর মানে অতুলনীয় সব খাবার যে কোনো সামাজিক বা প্রাতিষ্ঠানিক অনুষ্ঠানে পৌঁছে দিতে আমাদের রয়েছে ক্যাটারিং সেবা। বিয়ে বা জন্মদিনের অনুষ্ঠানে, স্কুলে, ব্যাংকোয়েট হল, ইসলামিক সেন্টার অথবা পিকনিকের জন্য আমরা ক্যাটারিং সেবা প্রদান করে থাকি। আমাদের সাথে যোগাযোগের ঠিকানা 2096 স্টার্লিং অ্যাভিনিউ, ব্রঙ্কস, নিউ ইয়র্ক 10462। ফোন নম্বর 718-918-1234। আমাদের অফিসিয়াল ওয়েবসাইট www.nirab.com। আমাদের ইমেইল অ্যাড্রেস nirab.bronx@gmail.com। এছাড়া নীরব রেস্টুরেন্টের স্বত্বাধিকারী মোহাম্মদ রেহমানের সাথে যোগাযোগ করতে পারেন। যোগাযোগ নম্বর 9179811747। থ্যাংক ইউ।
Dear viewers and listeners, we are again in the third segment of this program, and right now I'll be going to Mr. Baruch again discussing about a little history which routed his family and his mother's side, and it's very interesting and informative that I came across while I was talking to him regarding the regarding the Portuguese presence in Diden, Bengal, and then where it goes into spreading into say current Noakhali and Chittagong. I will be hearing something, some brief history about that from Mr. Baruch. And then Mr. Baruch, I will be touching at the end of it regarding the few very vital words of in Hebrew and in Arabic, as you know it already. I saw something like that in there. That's why I will be just like to make diversity and friendly society in the world. That's my target. Please go with the Portuguese presence in Bangladesh.
Most of the Portuguese that came and settled in parts of India came from a little ancient Liberian province, which is almost like the south of Portugal, called Lusitania.
Mm-hmm.
Many of them they happened to come to India because they were traders. My ancestors from my mother's side were also traders, and they also traveled to India. They had trading sailboats that used to come, touch in Goa, and then come to East Bengal at that time, or Calcutta, go up the Hooghly River, and they would do a lot of trading. Eventually, they started moving and came to the port city of Chittagong, and through the Kandapuli River. And at that time, during the twilight years of the Sultanate, the first Portuguese expedition in Bengal, landed in Chittagong on May the 9th, 1518, providing access to the rest of Bengal through Meghna, Padma, and Jamuna rivers links, and to the rest of the world via the Bay of Bengal. The Chittagong port was the most important for the Portuguese, and they called it Porto Grande, which means a large harbor. In I think it was in 1536 or 1537. And they established trading stations there. And then subsequently they built churches. They also went and built, they went to Sadgao, and they went to Diang. They also moved from Chittagong. They went up north, and they went to what you call it, Noakhali.
Noakhali. Then it was called Vulua. The previous name of Vulua. Okay.
Bulua. So and that was the original name of Noakhali. And then in the 1660s, it was renamed to Noakhali. In the 1660s, actually, sorry. The agricultural activities in the northern region of Bulua at that time, I'll say Bulua for now, was seriously affected by floodwater from the Dakatia River following the Tripura Hills, that was flowing from the Tripura Hills. And, to salvage the situation, a canal was dug in 1960 that ran from Dakatia to Ramganj and Chonaimuri and Chomuni, Chomuhari or something like that. It's called
Chomuhani. Yes, that canal is still there.
To divert the water.
Divert the water towards Bay of Bengal.
To the Meghna.
New canal, Meghna. The new canal system was done. That means that's the name new. In Bengali, it says Khal.
Noah is new and
Khal is the canal. So in Bengali, it says Noah Khal. This is a place of Noakhal, the district of Noakhal, and then it came out to Noakhali.
Actually, it got its name, Noakhali, in the year 1868.
It's a wonderful information, and we know this, but still, by listening from your perspective, a lot of information we get. Though we can discuss about a lot of stuff, lot of items here, but at this moment, I wanted to go a little bit towards again twisting. Like, do you know that any Jewish community out there have their own properties and still trying to get those properties back for the Jewish community development? Do you think like that still now?
Well, just to give you a bit of background history, because the Jews, very little is known about the history of the Jews of Bangladesh, which I'm sure you already know. And like I said, that after 1947, the India partition, many Jews chose to remain anonymous, fearing that they would be persecuted and killed by the local population during that time. Soon after the partition, many of them left for the UK, USA, Canada, and Australia, etc. Now, because the Jewish population was very few, there are no cemeteries, Jewish cemeteries. The only Jewish cemetery in that area was in Calcutta, in Narkeldanga. So if we talk about Bangladesh or East Pakistan at that time, when Jews died there, they were buried in Christian cemeteries. My father's grave is in the Catholic cemetery in Jamal Khan, in the Jamal Khan church. His brother, who passed away in Chandragona, his grave is in the Christian cemetery in Chandragona. There used to be a prayer house that I know of that was taken by the Pakistani government after partition and converted to a government building. And that building still stands in Dhaka. It is, I think, adjacent to Mukta Gan and the GPO in Dhaka.
What is it? It's
Somewhere
beside-
near Imperial area.
Yeah.
And it's still a government building. It just changed switched from the Pakistani hand and came into the Bangladesh hands. It would be nice that if it was turned over, because that is historical. That's part of Bangladesh's history.
That's a history, right? All the nations, all the developed nations, they always keep those historical
Yes.
monuments, preserves those. So that is also your wish that that should be preserved and that should be given dedicated to the Jewish community in Bangladesh.
And then in Chittagong, there is a building which is more than 100 years old, located at 3 Strand Road, Chittagong. And it's actually at the entrance of Sadargat Road, approximately about 100 meters away from the General Post Office.
Mhm.
This building was built in 1881 and was owned by the Ezekiel family, who had established business as sugar manufacturers and distributors. And I have pictures of that building still standing. If that, I've written letters to Sheikh Hasina and to Dr. Najmul Kalimullah, who's a professor of Department of Public Administration, because he's connected or trying to get some of these Jewish buildings identified. If it could be designated as a historical site, because that is all part of the history of Bangladesh,
Right.
and but I haven't heard from them. And
Well, maybe because the government is they believe on the diversity, they believe on the freedom of religion. So a government need to come up with a lot of stuff. It takes little time, but it depends on national, international, so many aspects and so many, so many. I will say there are factors that work so together, but still we don't dishearten ourselves. And at this moment, I'm going to touch the. I have gone through actually Bible. I have gone through Hebrew languages and also Arabic, of course, Arabic.
I'm not very good in Hebrew and Arabic.
All right. But I have seen that in Hebrew it says Elah, and in Arabic we say Allah. So it shows that the pronunciation, accents, and the oneness of Allah, oneness of God you know, all these things. We can go those into the detail later. But my point of view is we are all human beings on this wonderful earth, and we want to see peace and diversity and staying and living together peacefully on this earth. Today, viewers and listeners, by bringing up as a wonderful guest Mr. Baruch, um, I couldn't present a lot of details because it is not possible within this concise time. um, but later we will go in detail, maybe another session with those documents. And this is for the knowledge purpose. This is for the learning of our motherland's history or the history of origins, that how people steps into our motherland and habitates there and stay there for years together, century together, and no one is separate from anyone. After
One,
after a
one,
long time, I found Mr. Baruch, and I talked to him. Really, really, I appreciate his sharing, and also he is a very wonderful person. I don't see any difference between him and me. So,
also, I want to say one thing.
sure.
I personally don't see why peace cannot happen.
Right.
Okay. Now, there is, you know, I'm hoping, and I'm looking forward to one day Bangladesh recognizing Israel, because right after liberation, Israel was the first country to recognize Bangladesh as a sovereign nation. People don't
Right.
know this.
Right, Mr. Baruch. I think we don't go to that part because we. This is the thing that there are a lot of national, international, political things. So you know, it's a lot of
No,
factors
I don't want
working.
to go too much into that, but what I
Right,
want to say is,
but
you
but
know,
I think recently Bangladesh government has amended some options in Bangladeshi passport. That
one
yeah, so that indicates the diversity and acceptability and freedom of religion and all this stuff, like all these barometers and iconic things that
and
uh, a
what I want to
country wants to
say,
accept. Yeah.
what I want to say is the Indian general that helped the Mukti Baini defeat the Pakistan army was General Jack Fars Raphael Jacob.
Mr. Jacob, right?
He,
General
he
Jacob.
yes, he's a Baghdadi Jew, and he's also related to me from my father.
Oh, wonderful to know that too.
In
Uh,
2012, in 2012, on Bangladesh's 41st anniversary, he received a Friend of Liberation War Honor
Right.
Award from Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. He passed
uh,
away, of course,
right, right
on
here, right
20.
here. I wanted to say is like taking putting the legacy to your words. Like I do, we do salute to our freedom fighters. We do salute to those were given their life, and
Yes,
to the
you
71,
can't forget.
including those Indian armies and the public. They have done a wonderful job for Bangladesh at that time for the independence, and we really we give our salutations to the. If we can go a little bit back to remembering those Bengali language martyrs, and also those who have given their gracious, excellent life for and devoted for Bangladesh independence, and
Absolutely.
now they are for the cause of nation. I will thank you at this moment to
Thank you
Mr.
very much
Baruch.
for having me.
All right. Thank you so much. And we will talk again and again. And it is wonderful. And you are the first one that I got in my whole life, a Bengali Jewish person, belongs to Jewish community. So it is like I feel so brotherly because when you cut your skin, you have the same color, red color blood. That's the bottom line. We are the creatures of one creation.
Yeah.
So, thank you to the viewers and listeners today, and thank you for being with us. And also, thanks to everyone, all those tech of Millennium TV, and the CEO of this for making such a wonderful arrangement for us.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.